Hey guys, should be a quick video here. I'm going to talk briefly about homeostasis, just a sort of introduction to the topic. And so, homeostasis, as a general idea, is the notion that living things maintain a type of balance. We have a certain level of conditions where our functions, the things that keep us alive, operate best. And maintaining that balance is important for allowing our systems to work properly so we don't die. Right? And so an example of this is body temperature is a straightforward one. Right? As humans, our body temperature is typically somewhere around 98, 99 degrees. All of the chemical reactions in our body that keep us alive work best between 98 and 99 degrees. Right? We can go a little bit lower than that, we can go a little bit higher than that internally, and we work fine. But we get too far away from that baseline level, and our reactions stop working properly. We get too far away, and we die. Right? And so homeostasis is just the mechanisms by which our body maintains that level of balance. So a few examples of stuff that we have to maintain, not anywhere near the entire list, but just some of them. Body temperature, blood pH, ionic balances, that's like the salts in our body, like sodium, potassium. The things like electrolytes, right? Yeah. Then we have blood sugar, how much sugar we have in our blood. If it's too high, that's bad for us. If it's too low, that's bad for us. We try to maintain a healthy level of blood sugar. Oxygen concentration in our blood and our cells, right? And CO2 concentration in our blood and our cells. These are some very important things to maintain. And so when our body starts getting away from our baseline level, we have to have some kind of response to bring it back. And so our bodies utilize feedback loops as a way to regulate our conditions. And feedback loops are basically just a set of stimulus and response. And so you have the cause, you have the change, the thing that's happening to your body, and you have the response, the way in which our body is fixing that problem. So all feedback loops contain a stimulus and contain a response. Now, we can have a positive feedback loop, and a positive feedback loop is where the response perpetuates the stimulus. And so if the stimulus is an increase, the response will be a further increase. If the stimulus is a decrease, the response will be a further decrease. The arrows are going in the same direction. That's a positive feedback loop. A negative feedback loop is the inverse of that, where the response is stopping whatever the stimulus was or reversing whatever the stimulus was. Right? And so if the stimulus is an increase, our response will be a decrease. If the stimulus is a decrease, our response will be an increase, inversely related there. Right? Example of a negative feedback loop is if our body temperature goes up, we begin to sweat, and that brings our body temperature back down. Right? The stimulus and response are inverse from one another. Right? Body temperature up, the goal is to bring the body temperature down. An example of a positive feedback loop is the coagulation of blood, the clotting of blood. Right? And so if you get a cut and the blood starts leaking out, when that blood is exposed to oxygen, it begins to clot, to clump together. Right? That process of that blood coagulating, clumping together, releases chemicals that increases the amount of coagulation in the area. Right? So coagulation as a stimulus leads to more coagulation as a response. The arrows are going in the same direction. It is a positive feedback loop. Okay. Now, by and far, the vast majority of our homeostatic mechanisms are negative feedback loops. Right? Most of the time, we're trying to cancel out whatever change has occurred in our body. Our body's already at the level it wants to be. If there's any change at all, our response is typically the inverse of that. Right? And so if body temperature goes up, we want to bring it down. If O2 level goes too high, we want to bring it down. If O2 level goes too low, we want to bring it up. Right? Blood sugar goes too high, we want to bring it down. Blood sugar goes too low, we want to bring it up. Right? So again, almost all of our homeostatic mechanisms are negative feedback loops, but there are a few that are positive. Homeostasis is just maintaining balance in our body. And that's it, I think. So have a wonderful day. See y'all next time. Bye.